Caitlin Clark argue with Stephanie White. Caitlin trying to communicate with the team. Look at her. Now Stephanie White's talking to Caitlin. And Caitlin Clark just said like this. Stephanie, what are you talking? She's like, Caitlin just, and then look at Stephanie White and her having a dispute.
And that was something that
another dispute on camera. Going to Stephanie White, trying to hear her out. And Caitlin's trying to explain to Stephanie White. Stephanie White with a rebuttal. I'm talking about right here. Right here. Stephanie White, how about you go right there? How about you go right there, please? So I'm tired of the back and forth. Every time Caitlin says A, you say B. How about you? Yeah, Caitlin, let's try A. For God's sake, I've never seen you agree with Caitlin Clark on camera, my girl.
What is going on, basketball world? Welcome back to Street Hoops, where we break down the biggest stories, the wildest drama, and the moments shaking up the entire basketball universe. I'm Dre Fiver, and today we've got an emergency-level situation unfolding in Indianapolis because the tension surrounding the Indiana Fever has officially exploded into public view. By now, everybody has seen the leaked sideline footage, making rounds all over social media. And let's be real, family. That did not look like a normal coach-player conversation during a heated game. What people witnessed looked far more serious. The body language, the frustration, the visible tension. It all pointed toward a situation that may be much deeper than anyone originally thought. Fans online are calling it a complete breakdown in communication between Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff. And honestly, the internet has been in full meltdown mode ever since the clip surfaced. The biggest rumor, now spreading across basketball circles, is that head coach Stephanie White was furious about Clark publicly challenging the system during the game. Some reports are even suggesting internal conversations about discipline or reducing her freedom on the court. Whether every rumor is true or not, one thing is undeniable. The honeymoon phase around this Fever team is completely over. The pressure is mounting, the frustration is growing louder, and people are beginning to question whether Indiana truly understands how to maximize a generational player like Clark. A lot of fans who were preaching patience just weeks ago have suddenly gone silent. The trust the process crowd is disappearing fast because the product on the court has not looked smooth or connected. Instead of building around Clark's strengths, critics believe the offense often feels stiff, overly controlled, and disconnected from the fast-paced style that made her a superstar in the first place. And honestly, the frustration did not start with this leaked footage. It has been building game after game. After Clark's explosive fourth-quarter takeover against Washington, many expected Stephanie White to fully praise her superstar guard during the post-game press conference. Clark practically carried the Fever back into the game by herself, drilling impossible threes and creating offense out of thin air. But instead of highlighting that performance individually, White focused mostly on the group effort and team execution. That rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. People started noticing what they believed was a pattern. When other players have strong performances, the praise often feels direct and personal. But when Clark delivers something spectacular, the messaging suddenly becomes more about the collective. Fair or unfair, that perception has spread rapidly across social media, and now every interaction between Clark and the coaching staff gets analyzed under a microscope. The latest press conference only added more fuel to the fire. When asked about the team's defensive struggles and injuries, White responded with the usual coach speak about improvement, effort, and trying to get 1% better every day. She talked about defensive rotations, communication, and keeping the group connected. But for a frustrated fan base looking for accountability and urgency, the answers felt cold and detached. Many supporters no longer want broad motivational speeches. They want visible adjustments, smarter rotations, and a system that unleashes Clark instead of slowing her down. That is why this entire situation feels so volatile right now. Caitlin Clark is not just another young player. She is arguably the biggest star the WNBA has ever had entering the league. Every game becomes a national conversation. Every coaching decision gets magnified. Every sideline reaction goes viral within minutes. The spotlight surrounding Indiana is unlike anything the franchise has ever experienced before. At the center of it all is one massive question. Can Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark truly coexist long-term? Because right now, fans are beginning to feel like Clark is fighting two battles at once, one against opposing defenses and another against a system that does not fully fit her natural style. The scary part for Indiana is that public frustration is growing faster every week. And once fans start believing a coach is holding back a superstar, it becomes almost impossible to control the narrative. Whether the situation calms down or completely explodes from here, one thing is clear. The Fever are no longer just dealing with normal growing pains. The pressure surrounding this franchise has officially reached another level. But when Caitlin Clark delivers a historic offensive performance, the conversation somehow always shifts back toward generic team-focused messaging about collective growth and staying connected. That is the part driving fans crazy right now. Supporters feel like Clark's individual brilliance often gets softened down into broad coaching language instead of being fully recognized for what it is. And whether people agree or disagree with that criticism, the perception itself has become impossible to ignore. A growing section of the fan base believes there is a clear disconnect between Clark's natural style and the system Stephanie White wants to run. Clark thrives in chaos, pace, transition attacks, deep shooting, and instinctive playmaking. That free-flowing style is what made her one of the most electric players basketball has ever seen. But critics argue the Fever offense often feels slowed down, over-controlled, and overly cautious, almost like the coaching staff is trying to fit a revolutionary player into a far more traditional structure. That frustration exploded again during the recent Seattle game. Some fans pointed out that Clark was once again pulled from the floor right as she started building momentum offensively. To many watching, it felt like the same pattern repeating itself. Clark catches fire, the crowd erupts, the offense finally starts flowing, and then the rhythm suddenly gets interrupted by substitutions or slower half-court sets. Whether those decisions are purely strategic or not, fans are interpreting them as signs that the coaching staff still has not figured out how to fully maximize its superstar. The bigger issue is consistency. Indiana has already shuffled lineups and rotations multiple times early in the season, and reporters have started openly questioning the constant adjustments. During the latest press conference, one reporter directly asked Stephanie White about inserting Lexi Hull into the starting lineup and pointed out how much the rotations have changed game to game. That kind of question reveals the uncertainty surrounding the team right now. A franchise built around a generational player usually wants stability, chemistry, and clearly defined roles. Instead, Indiana still looks like a team searching for answers on the fly. To be fair, there were positives against Seattle. The Fever showed improvement defensively in stretches and controlled the glass far better than they had earlier in the season, finishing with strong rebounding numbers overall. But critics were quick to point out that Seattle has not looked like an elite contender this year either. So while the win mattered, it did not suddenly erase the bigger concerns surrounding Indiana's identity. And honestly, that identity question is becoming the central issue of the entire Caitlin Clark era. What exactly do the Fever want to be? Are they building around Clark's high-speed offensive creativity? Or are they trying to mold her into a slower, more controlled system built on strict structure and defensive discipline? Right now, fans feel caught between those two visions, and the tension surrounding the team keeps growing because of it. The leaked sideline footage only added fuel to the fire. Every reaction, substitution, and post-game quote is now getting dissected online because people sense real frustration bubbling under the surface. Social media has turned every Fever game into a non-stop debate about coaching philosophy, player freedom, and whether Clark is truly being unleashed the way she should be. At the end of the day, nobody questions Clark's talent anymore. She has already proven she can take over games at the highest level. The real question is whether Indiana can create an environment that fully empowers her instead of constantly trying to control the chaos that makes her special in the first place. Because if the Fever ever truly figure out that balance, the rest of the league is going to have a serious problem on its hands. Stephanie White tried to calm concerns during the post-game media session by explaining that the Fever are still early in the season and working through lineup combinations with several new pieces on the roster. According to White, the team is still searching for the right balance between scoring, defense, spacing, and consistency across all four quarters. She repeated multiple times that chemistry takes time to build, emphasizing patience while the roster continues adjusting to different rotations and responsibilities. But for a frustrated fan base, those answers did not exactly inspire confidence. Many supporters are starting to feel like Indiana still lacks a clear identity despite all the attention surrounding the team. Instead of looking organized and settled, the Fever often appear to be experimenting in real time, changing lineups, shifting roles, and searching for answers game by game. that uncertainty has only intensified the scrutiny surrounding Stephanie White and the coaching staff. When White explained the decision to start Lexi Hull, she said the move was meant to give the team a different defensive look while also allowing Sophie Cunningham to bring additional spacing and shot-making to the second unit. On paper, the logic made sense, but critics immediately pushed back, arguing that the Fever already possess one of the greatest floor spacing weapons in basketball with Caitlin Clark. Fans want to see a faster, more aggressive offense built around Clark's deep shooting gravity and transition playmaking, not a system that constantly feels like it is searching for itself. That frustration exploded online after leaked sideline footage began circulating across social media. The clip quickly became the center of basketball conversation because it appeared to show visible tension between Clark and the coaching staff during a timeout. Fans instantly started debating what the footage actually meant. Some saw it as normal competitive frustration during an intense game. Others viewed it as evidence of a deeper disconnect between the franchise star and the coaching philosophy guiding the team. The timing of the leak only added fuel to the fire because many fans believed the first half showed exactly how dangerous Indiana can look when Clark is allowed to push tempo and play instinctively. According to the game's plus-minus numbers, the Fever performed significantly better during stretches when the pace was faster and Clark had more freedom to attack early in possessions. In the second half, however, supporters felt the offense became slower and more controlled, leading to frustration both on the court and online. Social media immediately split into different camps. One side defended Clark passionately, arguing that her emotional reaction showed leadership and competitiveness from a superstar desperate to win. They believed the Fever should fully lean into her fast-paced style instead of trying to slow the game down. The other side warned against overreacting to a short sideline clip, pointing out that intense exchanges between players and coaches happen constantly in professional sports. Those fans worry that viral moments like this can unfairly create narratives about players being difficult or uncoachable. The reality probably sits somewhere in the middle. Competitive athletes and coaches clash all the time, especially when expectations are sky high and emotions are running hot. But what makes this situation feel bigger is the spotlight surrounding Caitlin Clark herself. Every interaction becomes headline material because she is not just another young star. She is the face of an entirely new era for women's basketball, and the pressure surrounding the Fever has reached a level few WNBA teams have ever experienced before. That is why every coaching decision now gets magnified. Every substitution, rotation tweak, and sideline conversation instantly becomes part of a larger debate about whether Indiana is maximizing its generational talent properly. Fans are not just watching games anymore. They are analyzing philosophy, pace, player freedom, and organizational direction in real time. And honestly, that pressure is only going to grow from here. Because if the Fever eventually figure out how to blend structure with Clark's natural creativity, the ceiling for this team becomes terrifyingly high. But until that balance is found, every frustrating loss, every awkward sideline moment, and every lineup experiment is going to keep feeding the storm surrounding Indiana basketball. Caitlin Clark's explosive reaction should never disappear from the public conversation because, to many fans, it symbolized the exact moment she stopped quietly accepting a system that seemed to limit her strengths. Clark built her reputation by trusting her instincts, pushing tempo, throwing impossible passes, and launching shots from distances most players would never attempt. That fearless style transformed women's basketball, shattered television records, and packed arenas across the country. So when supporters watched leaked footage of her visibly frustrated with the coaching staff, many interpreted it as a superstar finally refusing to suppress the game that made her special in the first place. The reaction online instantly revealed how divided the fan base has become. One viral comment claimed that anyone still defending Stephanie White's approach could not truly support Clark's growth as a player. Another popular post argued that White accepted the Indiana job more because of her long-standing connection to the franchise than any genuine desire to build a modern offense around Clark's unique abilities. Whether fair or not, that perception has spread rapidly across basketball discussions online. Fans increasingly believe the organization is trapped between two completely different visions of how basketball should be played. And honestly, that conflict becomes obvious when you watch the Fever on the court. Clark thrives in a fast-paced, high-screen, transition-heavy attack where she can manipulate defenders from well beyond the three-point line. That style creates chaos for opposing